My dear sewing friends, I hope that you are ready for some sweet, sweet baby makes. But more than that, I actually wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you a little bit more about thoughtful sewing. Because some might think that just because I sew as a hobby and also as my work, that I probably made dozens and dozens and dozens of baby clothes in anticipation of this new life coming into the world. But it actually could not be further from the truth. You will see some cute baby makes, but probably not as many as you thought. And no, we actually did not have a lot of stuff left over from my oldest daughter, when she was a baby, because with her, we applied exactly the same approach. And I would say that big part of that is definitely culture and cultural aspect, because where I'm from, we definitely apply a different tradition to expecting babies and preparing for the babies and welcoming babies in this world than what I see here in North America. And part of it was definitely just personal preference. But of course, I will share with you what I made and why I made it. So if you want to spend a little bit more time together, let's do this. You might have gathered that we are having a little baby girl, so I wanted to say thank you so much for all of the well wishes. And the little outfit that you see on your screens is actually not an outfit that goes together. I mean, of course, those are the same fabrics and coordinating colors, but they're all different sizes. So the pants and the little hat are newborn size. The pants I traced off of the going home outfit for my oldest daughter when we brought her home from the hospital. So that's that. And the little hat was a free pattern. I don't remember from where just right now, but I will make sure that I will link it for you guys in a description. Then this little t-shirt is closer to a 3 to 6 month old baby, depending on the size, maybe even a little bit older. And this one was by Melly Sews. It is a free pattern, and I highly recommend that. If you are thinking about sewing baby clothes, I do have to mention that it's not as simple as straightforward as it seems at a first glance, because first, when you look at it, you're like, well, there's not much to it, right? But you have to remember that pattern pieces are very small. Some of the techniques that are used, we don't usually use for adult clothing, or perhaps not as often. And then you also have to keep your eye out on the fabric that you're using, because baby's skin is sensitive. So with my first daughter, when people were asking me if you're going to sew baby clothes for her, my answer was categorically no. I was like, nope, not happening. And yes, I ate my words on that, because when she was born, about 2 months in, I started sewing clothing for her. So it's one of those things that I'm happy that I ended up eating my words on it, but I was definitely not expecting that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's totally okay to change your opinion on something, but it was definitely something that I was like, wow. All right, I said that I won't be sewing baby clothes, and here I am sewing some. Another little outfit that I made for my little one follows exactly the same story as the first one. The pants are newborn size, or sort of like a 0 months to, I would say maybe 2 months or so. And the little t-shirt is for a slightly older age, using exactly the same patterns as you saw for the pink outfit. Now, as I mentioned, these two little t-shirts are for a slightly older baby, right? So for the little pants, something has to go up top. So here I actually have 5 mostly white, very simple and very plain long sleeve onesies, and 5 short sleeve onesies. And these were a gift from my coworkers at the time, about 7 years ago, when I was expecting my oldest daughter. And that was the first time ever when I was introduced to a concept of a baby shower. They did like a nice tea and cake gathering for me and brought these onesies and fabric markers and decorated some of the onesies with really cute designs, which, as you can see, we still have. It was definitely very sweet and very special, because, as I said, I had no clue what baby shower is or what it is all about. And I did get a sentiment from a couple of my coworkers saying that they feel sad for me that I didn't have a baby shower, but in my culture, it's not a thing at all. Now, currently, yes, I do live here in the United States, but I'm not American born. In fact, I am a naturalized American, but I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, in Latvia. That's where I spent most of my adult life. And then I traveled and worked all around Europe and other places in the world as well. But my family heritage, my family roots are actually Russian. So from all over the place in Russia, plus a little bit of Central Asia as well. So there's a big mix. And when I was growing up, of course, I had babies around me, uncles and aunts that were having babies and families and whatnot. And baby showers were not a thing. I can't speak for the state of that as of this very moment because traditions intermingle, people bring in different cultural aspects, especially with how widespread internet is right now. But when I was growing up and into my young adulthood, it was not a thing. It was not something that anybody would do. In fact, in my culture, it is considered sort of like a bad omen to celebrate a good event before it actually happens. So when somebody is expecting a baby, I can't say that it's kept like super low key, but it kind of is kept very, very low key. You don't necessarily talk about it too much. You don't announce it very, very early on. Usually people kind of realize it on their own once you start showing a little bit of a bump. So the main idea is that you don't celebrate a good event before it actually happens. Now, that does not mean that babies are not celebrated. They definitely are, but after they are born. And usually what I've seen happen is that you do prepare for a baby, of course, a little bit, some essentials like a crib, a couple of outfits, a couple of blankets, a little bit here, a little bit there. But you wait for the baby to actually be born and get to know your baby. And from there, you then buy and acquire, borrow, exchange things that are appropriate for the milestones and for what your baby needs. Because as we know, all babies are very different. And obviously, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong or the best way to go about it. I'm just simply sharing with you how I was raised and the approach that I took going into my first pregnancy and now into my second pregnancy. And with my first one, these 5 long sleeve and 5 short sleeve onesies that were gifted to me as a part of a little work celebration, plus a little going home outfit, which was just a little top and little footed pants and a little hat, and 3 pairs of baby mittens and 3 pairs of baby socks is what I had for my baby. I kid you not, that was all. Then I had 3 little double gauze swaddles that I still have, literally just large double gauze blankets that you use as a swaddle. I had 2 crib sheets that I bought and a bassinet that we bought, and that was about it. Now, although we didn't have a baby shower or a registry for our first one, neither for our second one, we did receive a couple of gifts, which was really, really sweet. And those were mostly either onesies or little sleepers, which was great with our first one. I did enjoy using them, and I do have them left over from her, so we're definitely going to be using them this time as well. Other than that, clothing-wise, I did make 2 extra pairs of pants. One was featuring this sweet little gingerbread print. Those were remnants from pajamas that I made for my oldest daughter last year, and I also made a t-shirt for myself. So I thought, you know what, why not? And then just a plain pair of brown pants, because there's a lot of brown when you have a little baby. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I did buy an additional white onesie, just plain white, that I then embroidered with a little picture of Bingo from the Bluey cartoon. And that's how I told my husband that we are expecting. And I thought that was so cute because all of us do have Bluey t-shirts. Very fitting and very on theme. It was completely unnecessary, but I did make a couple of extra swaddle cloths, and these can double up as burp cloths, cleaning cloths, and whatnot. So we went to Hobby Lobby because that's like the only fabric store that's left around us, and we each chose 1 print of their double gauze. So my husband chose this woodlandy print. My daughter, of course, chose this strawberry print, and I went for this fall foliage print. And from 1 yard, I made one large swaddle cloth, and then like a couple of smaller ones that you can use as burp cloth and whatnot. I don't make and never made dedicated burp cloths just because I find it quite limiting in terms of what you can use them for. So we just use these. Now the edges on these are finished on a serger. In fact, the entire thing is done on a serger, and the technique is a rolled hem edge, which once you master it, it really is a game changer for projects like these. So if you do have a serger and you do have a baby on the way or little kids, use it to its full potential. It definitely speeds things up, and I do have a full serger series that explains step by step how to do it, how to troubleshoot it, and how to achieve the best results. So definitely check it out. I'll leave it, guys, for you in the description. And other than that, I'll make more clothes as we need and as we go and as she grows. So depending on how big is the baby, what she likes, because I did learn some valuable life lessons with my first one. And when I started sewing clothes for her, of course I was excited. So I wanted to make some cute little baby dresses, and I did. And guess what? My baby started crawling at 5 months old, and that's all she wanted to do. So these kind of dresses were a complete waste of my time and effort. I would also highly recommend staying away from social media, even sewing social media and sewing circles, because with so much stuff out there, it really is becoming hard to hear your own voice and to hear your own thoughts and find what's true to you. Because no matter how much we want to believe that sewing social media is different than regular social media, the truth is a lot of sewing makes are part of content, and that content is made with a purpose to entice, to generate clicks and likes and whatnot, and that purpose might not be a true practical purpose in someone's life. And then of course we don't really see right through it. We see a garment or a baby make or something that we're like, oh my goodness, it's so cute, I have to have it, and then we want to make it, and then we make it, we spend our time, our energy, our resources, fabric and whatnot, and turns out it actually serves no practical purpose in our lives. Also, with our older daughter, it just sort of happened on its own, kind of. I had to go back to work 3 months postpartum to an actual physical work. Plus, I was trying to get YouTube up and running. And of course, I had a little newborn baby on my hands, so I didn't really have that much time to sew. And when I did sew, I realized that you actually don't need everything that is being advertised to you in terms of baby gear and baby stuff. In fact, I do feel that being a parent nowadays is really overwhelming. And I always try to go back to the thought that, you know, our parents somehow managed, our grandparents somehow managed, and generations before them somehow managed as well. Obviously, times were different, challenges were different, life was different, but in terms of thoughtful sewing, in my case, I choose to get to know my baby and then sew instead of sewing beforehand, because in my experience, you don't really need as much as you think that you do. And you never know what is going to be a lifesaver and what is going to be a complete waste of time. With that, I do urge you to listen to yourself and to know yourself, because it might not be for you. For me, I do know that I do have to keep my hands busy, and no matter how tired I am, I do have to engage my brain. And sewing, as much as it is a practical thing at that stage, it's also something that sort of helps me find that balance. So for me, that works, but for you, it might be different. So as I mentioned, listen to yourself, because that is the most important thing. Now, I actually do have a channel where I sew and upcycle clothes for kids. You can check it out right over here. And I thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending this time with me. And until next time, happy, thoughtful sewing. Bye.